Okay, away we go. We're taking a look at the West. And what we want to make sure we understand is that the first three learning objectives are dealing with the West not as a place, but as a process. It's conceptually speaking when we look at the West. So understanding as a process is the concept. To make sense of this, if you were to go back in time and talk to, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's take a chance that you can. I'm pointing the camera in the right direction. Wire's not big enough. But if you were to go here in the late 1800s and ask the people living here, and then probably they would be Mexican nationals, you would ask them, how is it like living in the West? They would, and assume that you were speaking Spanish. I was speaking Spanish to them. They would assume that you were crazy. Where would they believe that they were located? That's right. The North. They were in northern Mexico, right? So the West, when you indicate that you're going west, it's obviously a relation location in relation to coming from the east. I'm going west. But it's also a political statement as well. The West only applied to whom, do you think? White Anglo-Saxon males. So it's not applicable to the people living there already, as you're getting more and more white Anglo-Saxon Protestants inhabiting the area. And for those people that are inhabiting the area, again, it's not west, it's north. So keep that in mind. This place is as you'll see in this learning objective, it is a place. You can click here. Let's go ahead and do that together. It is a place of opportunity, right? That's when we think of the West, we think of, wow, that's why people went to West. Go west, young man, for opportunity, right? This is the frontier. The frontier is opportunity. This is where it begins. And this is a genesis, a birth story of American exceptionalism and the idea of what it means to be an American. You're all going to school because you understand that this is the process required to allow opportunities to come your way, right? That didn't come from nowhere. It came from the experience in the West, albeit to a very limited amount of people, excluding Native Americans, excluding Mexican nationals, excluding the Chinese that were there. They were brought there exclusively to work on the railroads. It's a place, and so on and so forth. I want to go through the whole thing because I want to keep it limited, but make sure you understand that idea of the West being not a place but a process. It is also a place, but for the context, in the context of learning objectives 1 through 3, it will make sense. The information that you read about and view in the lectures will make sense if you understand it to be a concept, a process. All right, so going back, we're going to look at learning objective 4, discuss the problem of defining and maintaining the identity of Native Americans. So what we're doing here is looking at, we could look at numerous people. We're going to look at, in the purpose of this class, we're going to be looking at the experience of Native Americans and what they went through. Living in the West, not as a process, not as a concept, but as a place. That was home to them. And so we're going to see this story, and there's 7 historical patterns that you want to take note of. Let's see what else. And this is a very interesting story. This is kind of the thing that if you have a response to it, it separates those students that earn a B from those who earn an A, right? So those students in A are the ones that give this a good listen, allow themselves the time for it, and respond thoroughly to it. Learning objective 5, after reading a linked article, and define, compare, and contrast the concept of the West as a place and as a process. So let's go ahead and open this on up. What we're looking at here is Frederick Jackson Turner. He's basically the first, he is the historian that established the history of the West. And he put forward this thesis that has been largely debunked in by historians, that is, professional historians. But nonetheless, it's still a very popular image of the West, the one that he defined, or at least identified, as a place for opportunity, as a place that was a continuously moving line of people moving forward. And what they were doing was that they were leaving civilization behind because there were no opportunities for them. And going out into a place where there were no hierarchies, where there were no set rules, it was laissez-faire completely, and they were able to make something of themselves. It's a little bit mythical because the government was actually providing the land for them. They were offering them free land, right? They were, later on, they would also give them, grant millions of dollars to railroads in order to buy up the land. And so it's sort of a myth that it was all individual. But however, they did go out there and experience the harshness of the environment. Again, this is a limited pool of people. This is just applying to the Anglo-Saxon that went out there, white people, right? So read through his article right here. He goes through it. And then we get to looking at the West, not so much as a process, not so much as a concept, but as a place, the legacy of conquest, right? This is where conquest happened. This is where civilizations collided. And this is where, when we look back at the history, we look back at it as a tragedy, largely was. So understand that the purpose of this assignment right here is just to come up, read through it, and articulate a paragraph, 5 to 6 sentences, combined, right? So you're just identifying what Turner says and what Limerick says with her legacy of conquest, and with Turner's the frontier thesis. All right. Okay, that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.